Residents of Hallsville no longer have a full-time police department to protect them. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reed.
And I'm Max Deignight. This follows the departure of the town's final full-time officer and a less than flattering post from Hallsville's former police chief. KOMU 8's Madeline Odell is here with the full story.
The controversy started with a Facebook post. Former Hallsville Police Chief Gabe Edwards wrote on social media yesterday, basically saying the town's police department no longer exists. Edwards was referring to the resignation of the only remaining full-time police officer, Drew Gordon, who's leaving Hallsville for his wife's new job. But with no real police force to rely on, some residents felt abandoned when they read the news. One woman I spoke to said she knew Boone County deputies could still help out, but she was more concerned about the times they couldn't.
You know, it's not going to take long for people who are wanting to commit crimes to figure out that there's nobody patrolling the street.
I wanted to let everybody know that probably need to be a little more vigilant and understand that you're going to be seeing a lot less police presence around here, and to look out for yourselves.
Detective Tom O'Sullivan from the Boone County Sheriff's Department says it's normal for county authorities to step in and help out smaller towns like Hallsville. Meanwhile, Hallsville is currently searching for a new police chief and police officers. In the studio, Madeline Odell, KOMU 8 News.
Columbia police called the body found at the Welcome Inn Hotel last night a homicide. They're not releasing the man's name pending notification of family members. Officers say he died from an apparent gunshot wound. Nearby businesses told us they've had several problems with the hotel. Employees at the Eagle Stop gas station say hotel patrons shoplift at their convenience store, and another nearby business complains of hotel guests causing other problems. Cooper County Western District Commissioner David Booker is receiving backlash after making a racially charged post to his Facebook account last night. The post stated Democrats haven't been this upset since Republicans took away their slaves. Cooper County residents began to comment after the post was screenshot and added to the county Democrats' Facebook page. We talked to a Booneville woman who says the post gives the county a bad name.
To have statements that would be divisive or be counterproductive to that would limit Booneville's growth, and we want to be a place that continues to be inviting for industry and community to feel confident in bringing their kids here and having their families grow up here.
We tried to contact Commissioner Booker throughout the day by phone. He did not return our calls.
Nearly 21 million people suffer from substance use disorder, more than every cancer combined here in America. That's just one of many staggering statistics released in an extensive report on substance abuse by the Surgeon General Thursday. According to the report, nearly 21 million people suffer from substance use disorder, and 1 in 7 people will abuse drugs at some point during their life. But unlike other diseases such as cancer or diabetes, only 1 in 10 people get treatment for this disease. Last year in Boone County, 967 people sought help.
This is not people who are just homeless people living under bridges, someone wandering around with a bottle in a bag. These are our neighbors, our loved ones, our husbands, our fathers, our sisters, our mothers, our sons, our daughters, our co-workers, members of our faith community, our neighbors. This is us.
49 other states have a prescription drug monitoring database to prevent doctor shopping. Missouri is the only state that has not adopted the database.
Antibiotic-resistant bacteria infects more than 2 million Americans each year. KOMU 8's Kristen Reeser is here in the studio to tell us how healthcare professionals want to change that.
This week marks National Get Smart About Antibiotics Week, which focuses on educating the public about proper antibiotic use. When patients misuse the drugs, the bacteria adapts and becomes harder to treat. The CDC estimates up to 50% of antibiotic prescriptions are either not needed, used improperly, or are not taken for the correct number of days. A local pharmacist says people think they should use antibiotics more than they actually need to.
A lot of things, sicknesses and that type of thing, especially this time of year, can be due to viral infections rather than bacteria. So if you have a viral infection, which is like the common cold or the flu, that type of thing, antibiotics won't do anything to help treat it.
Smith says it's also important to prevent getting an infection in the first place, and you can do that with thorough hand washing, safe food preparation, and by avoiding those who are sick. In the studio, Kristen Reeser, KOMU 8 News.
Ameren is warning its customers of a phone scam involving utility bills. The company says it's seen more complaints than usual about fishy phone calls. The scammers impersonate Ameren employees, telling customers their bills are past due and asking for payment in the form of prepaid cards. The Better Business Bureau says this is a sure sign of a scam, and there are a few red flags you can look out for.
What people should really look out for is someone who calls and is really, really pushy and is trying to get you to make a payment right now on the phone.
An Ameren spokesperson said the company is never pushy in dealing with customers and that they typically won't address a problem like this over the phone. We saw some big changes in our weather today. Let's send it over to Michael to see if the cold weather will stick around.
Thanks, Max, and good evening, everyone. I think the saying is, if you don't like the weather in Missouri, just wait a day. I'm pretty sure that's the saying, and that was the case today as we look at the weather almanac. High temperatures were actually reached at 7:47 this morning, a high of 68 degrees, and those temperatures fell throughout the day today. About 4 p.m., we are seeing temperatures in the mid-40s or so. Sky conditions right now, we are just seeing some cloudy skies, some overcast skies for the most part, but overnight, those are going to break, and we are going to see some sunshine for tomorrow. But the temperatures are the big story. 41 degrees in Columbia, 36 in Macon. But because of some strong winds, we're actually having a wind chill right now. It feels more like 32 here in Columbia, 30 in Boonville, and 25 up in Macon. And again, it's all because of the strong winds, about 16 miles an hour right now here in Columbia out of the northwest. And those winds are actually going to remain strong overnight tonight. And they will die off a little bit by tomorrow afternoon as we look at our weekend forecast. A high of 47 degrees for tomorrow. We're going to reach that around 4 p.m. Those winds do calm down. And by Monday, we're back up into the 50s. Is that warming trend going to continue? We'll take a look at that 8-day forecast in just a little bit.
The homeless are sharing their experiences through performance this weekend. A play called Street Stories, Glimpses of Homelessness is showing at the Columbia First Christian Church Saturday and Sunday. The performances are a part of a National Hunger and Homeless Awareness Week. Many of the stories in the play were written by people in Columbia who are or have been homeless. One of the co-directors of the play told KOMU 8 News the event mostly aims to raise awareness.
Really, our main goal is to increase that awareness, let people know about the situation, and also to emphasize that people who are homeless are no different than anyone else.
All proceeds from the event will go to support Turning Point and also provide more rooms at the area shelters here in Columbia.
Coming up a little later, the president's cabinet is beginning to take shape. We'll mention some names later. About 24 people are recovering after a school bus crash in Nashville today. The school bus hit an interstate guardrail and turned on its side. 23 of the 43 people on board were taken to the hospital. The bus was going to a National Beta Club convention when the crash occurred.
A scary scene in Minnesota as police there say a woman tried to hang a 1-year-old inside of her daycare center. A parent rescued the boy when they arrived at the daycare, and the woman drove off. Police say the woman then ran over a pedestrian and hit a bicyclist trying to flee. A woman went onto an overpass and threatened to jump off, but was stopped by a passerby. No one was seriously hurt, and the woman remains in the hospital under police observation. There's no word on a motive just yet. The police officer charged in the shooting death of Philando Castile appeared in court today. 28-year-old Ernemo Yanez faces charges of second-degree manslaughter, and discharging a dangerous weapon in the fatal traffic shooting this past July. This is the first time a Minnesota officer has been charged in connection with killing someone while in the line of duty. Yanez did not enter a plea in court today. His next hearing is set for December 19th.
Today, President-elect Trump revealed 3 picks for his White House team. He chose former Lieutenant General Michael Flynn as his national security advisor, Senator Jeff Sessions as his attorney general, and Kansas Congressman Mike Pompeo as CIA director. 2 former Trump opponents could be cabinet picks as well. Senator Ted Cruz and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley are among the Republicans backing Trump. Trump agreed to settle 3 lawsuits against Trump University for $25 million.
And now more than 6,000 former students will get money back in the settlement. NBC's Chris Pallone has the story.
New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman calls it a stunning reversal and a major victory. President-elect Donald Trump agreeing to pay $25 million to settle 3 civil lawsuits with no admission of wrongdoing.
Both sides fought very hard, and we fought for what we believed in. And at the end of this, you have to respect the other side for the fight and respect the fact that in the end, he did do the right thing.
The suits accuse the for-profit Trump University of being a fraudulent scheme.
At Trump University, we teach success.
Those real estate seminars cost students, many of them poor or elderly, up to $35,000 each. The program promised students would learn investing secrets from Trump's hand-picked instructors. Trump long denied the fraud accusations, but admitted in a deposition he did not pick the instructors. Trump tweeted in February, "Trump University has a 98% approval rating. I could have settled, but won't out of principle." But now, with Inauguration Day looming, that's all changed. The president-elect now avoids having to testify in court and an appearance before a judge Trump slammed on the campaign trail.
What Judge Curiel is doing is a total disgrace.
More than 6,000 Trump University students will get restitution in the settlement. Chris Pallone, NBC News, New York.
The Trump Organization released a statement after the settlement saying, quote, "They are pleased to announce the complete resolution of the lawsuit, and they had no doubt that Trump University would have won during trial." Thanks. Weather's next.
Welcome back to KOMU 8 News at 10. We're taking a look at the time lapse over Rocheport today. Take a look at those temperatures at 6 a.m. 66 degrees and watch them fall throughout the day. As you can see, we're at 50 degrees near noon, and they even fell into the 40s by the late afternoon. Increasing clouds throughout the day, all because of a cold front. That's why we saw those chilly conditions move in, some very strong winds as well. And at 10:14 p.m., temperatures are at 41 degrees. And as we look at our forecast facts for the next few days, freezing temperatures and the return of the phrase wind chill, especially with the winds that we're seeing right now outside. And again, we are going to see a rain chance by midweek. And then we're also going to take a look at your Turkey Day forecast here in just a little bit. But the bottom fell out today, as Jim was saying earlier, 27 degrees cooler than what we were at this time. We were still in the 60s at this point last night. We're back into the 40s right now. And you can see here across the Midwest, much colder temperatures, 44 degrees in St. Louis, 35 in Kansas City, 17 out in North Platte, Nebraska, where they actually saw a little bit of snow today as well. And you can see that here on our satellite and radar. Cold front moved through early this afternoon, not bringing much, really no rain to the mid-Missouri area, but off to our east towards St. Louis. They actually saw some fairly strong storms for this time of year. But of course, the big story was the snow up to our north, beginning to fall apart right now. They saw anywhere between 2 to about 8 inches of snow in a few places in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. But that track is going to continue off to the east and back home again. We just saw increasing clouds for the most part today, colder temperatures and some stronger winds. Now looking at the week ahead, you can see here what our weather maker is right now is this little bit of a trough, beginning some Arctic air pushing into the lower 48. You can see that's pushing across the area throughout the weekend. We are going to remain still right around average by Sunday, and then another ridge of high pressure pushes in for the beginning part of the week. Because of that, we're going to see some warmer temperatures, but you can kind of see another dip in the system right around Tuesday, and that's going to be our next chance for some rain and some cooler temperatures for the latter part of the work week. Now, how cold for tomorrow morning? A lot of deer hunters here in the state of Missouri. Temperatures are going to be right around the freezing mark for Saturday morning, so favorable temperatures, maybe not favorable winds. We're going to warm up only into the mid-40s for high temperatures on Saturday, and by Sunday morning, we're down into the 20s, and because of some light winds, we'll actually feel more like the upper teens. So very, very cold weather for this time of year, and you can see by Sunday afternoon, about 5:30, we're back into the 40s with highs actually in the 50s for Sunday. Winds again by tomorrow morning around sunrise, right around 10 miles an hour. So again, not favorable winds for deer hunters, but those cold temperatures should help out a little bit. Winds will pick up a little bit tomorrow, but by the late afternoon, they are going to die off. You can see by 7 p.m., we're only about 6 miles an hour out of the northwest. You can see tonight, temperatures getting down to 31 degrees for a low, mostly cloudy skies, breezy and chilly. Wind gusts still as high as 30 miles an hour overnight tonight. Tomorrow, a high of only 47 degrees, which is below average for this time of year. We haven't said that very often here in the month of November. And as we look at the rest of the week, Sunday, a high of 52 degrees. We're back up near 60 degrees by Tuesday, and that's when that next chance for rain rolls through, cooling us off a little bit for Wednesday. High of only 53 degrees, and your Thanksgiving Day forecast right now looks dry. Temperature's 55, so not a bad turkey day for Thursday.
Can I use that same phrase I used at 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
The bottom dropped out
Bottom
today
fell out.
on mid-Missouri temperature.
I mean, we were at 60 degrees at this time last night. Wow. And the wind, the winds of change.
All right, Michael, thanks.
One local business in Columbia has an F rating from the Better Business Bureau. Hear from upset customers and the owner of the business in a Target 8 investigation.
That's coming up, but first, your lottery numbers. Good luck.
Tonight, Target 8 investigates multiple concerns from a group of consumers about one local business.
Chief Investigator Jamie Gray is here to tell us what the team found out after talking to customers, the shop's owner, and the BBB.
Well, it started because we had multiple complaints from multiple women who say they paid for clothing from a local store that also has an online shop, and then they waited for weeks or more. Some didn't get their things, and then others had a tough time getting refunds. So we've been looking into it. We spent the last day collecting court records, complaints, screenshots of messages, posts, and payment details to try to sort this out. KOMU 8's Emma Balkenbush spoke with customers about their concerns and asked the business owner why this store is racking up so many complaints right now.
The store is called Stop, Drop, and Swap and currently has an F rating on the Better Business Bureau's website. The store specializes in designer and luxury brand clothing and accessories for women. There's currently about 9,000 members in the Facebook group. Some of them aren't very happy, and this week those with complaints started to find each other online, and they reached out to us.
Lamonia Jones says her first order took a long time. She paid for it in March.
Didn't receive the items until around May, and the items were wrong.
Then she ordered again, waited weeks, and got nothing. After reaching out to the owner explaining she's a single mom without, quote, money to give away, and received different answers for what was going on.
At first she would respond and say, oh, they're on the way, or they just shipped, or whatever the case may be. And then she just stopped responding.
Jones says she asked for a refund.
She never responded, just basically was bullying me out of my money, and it was like $140. So I just never heard from her again.
She eventually got a refund several weeks later. We heard similar stories from other women reporting they'd ordered items, were told they had shipped but they never came, or took weeks or months to finally arrive. Others say it took an unreasonable amount of time to get money back. KOMU 8 stopped by Collier's storefront, but she declined to talk on camera. Collier says in Jones's case, her business was having a software issue during this time, which is why she couldn't communicate with Jones about her complaints. She says she could have handled things better, but that her business has thousands of happy customers. Mid-Missouri Regional Director for the BBB says Collier currently has 5 unanswered complaints on the BBB website.
Businesses can be one of two things. One, they can really be trying to do something that is unethical. They can be trying to scam people. The other is they can just get in over their head, and it looks to me like that may very well be the case.
Spence says if a business owner doesn't deal with problems right away, they just get worse and worse.
In looking into Collier's records, we found multiple court cases that have been brought against her for financial issues. She was arrested this week. According to court records, she's accused of writing a check from a non-existent bank account.
I want to tell you, both Emma and I have spoken with Collier over the phone this evening. She says she takes customer satisfaction seriously and says, quote, as with all businesses, we can sometimes fall short in meeting our expectations, and for that, we are truly sorry. But we endeavor to learn and grow from each experience while continuing to have thousands of happy customers.
Missouri and Tennessee kick off tomorrow at 2:30. We'll have a live report from Knoxville coming up in sports.
From the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Missouri football is in Knoxville this weekend to take on the 19th ranked Tennessee Volunteers. The Tigers picked up a big win last week over Vanderbilt, mostly due to the reemergence of their defense. KOMU 8's Austin Huff is live in Knoxville with more on how D-Line Zoo found its mojo last week.
Good evening, Corey. It's been a beautiful night so far in Knoxville, and I'm standing right by the Vic Davis Plaza right here, which honors one of the Tennessee alums that helped create the passing of the torch ceremony here at UT. And how much like that flame above me right there that is currently lit, the Tigers defense has been on fire as well in the past couple of weeks, in large part due to the head coach Barry Odom taking over the playing call duties. The Tigers have forced 10 sacks and 18 tackles for loss in the past 2 weeks. The Tigers, though, will have their hands full this week against Tennessee. Volunteers rushed for nearly 400 yards last week in the victory over Kentucky. Linebacker Eric Beisel knows the defense wants to keep on progressing the way they are in order for the Tigers to have a chance to win.
The more guys getting in, watching film, the more guys out there on the field working, doing the extra work. Chemistry's building significantly. Obviously, we're progressing as a team, as a defense. And progression is key to survival in this league, and obviously we're going to do the necessary things to get that done.
Tomorrow, if Mizzou wins, Tennessee will be officially eliminated from the SEC East race, and Florida will win the East for the second straight year. Kickoff from Neyland Stadium right down the street is set for 2:30 p.m. Central. Reporting live in Knoxville, Austin Huff, KOMU 8 Sports.
Thanks, Austin. The Missouri football team isn't the only one with something to prove this weekend. Tiger basketball team was looking to show last night's tough contest with number 11 Xavier was no fluke today against Davidson. Wildcats get off to a fast start in this one, though. Will McGarity finishes off the fast break with the dunk. Tigers are down 10 early and then still down big, but freshman Reed Nico, he had a good game in this one. He puts on a nice move in the post. He scores. Mizzou down 15 at this point. Now we'll move on to the second half. Mizzou still trying to break through, couldn't quite do it. Kunk Van Leer sinks the long three here, but the Tigers still trail by 12. Soon became clear there was not going to be a comeback today. Davidson's Peyton Aldridge sinks his three off a nice bounce off the rim. Wildcats up 51-39. Mizzou fought it out to the end. Kevin Puryear with a tough basket inside after his own miss, but it wouldn't be enough. Mizzou loses 70-55. They'll take on Tulane on Sunday. The Missouri volleyball team was also in action tonight. The Tigers taking on Auburn, looking to sweep the season series against the other Tigers and get back on track after a loss to South Carolina last weekend. The visiting Tigers started out firing, out hitting Mizzou in long rallies to take an early 9-4 lead in the first set. Mizzou cut the deficit late, but costly errors gave Auburn the opening set in the end. Auburn carried the momentum in the early stages of the second set as well before Mizzou mounted a successful comeback through a pair of Alyssa Munlin kills down the stretch. Mizzou takes the set 25-20. The Tigers then narrowly took the third set, and a wild 10-1 scoring run to wrap up the fourth gave Mizzou the victory and improves the 25th ranked Tigers record to 22-5. Mizzou 3-1 over Auburn. Mizzou's not the only mid-Missouri football team playing tomorrow. The Battle Spartans will be fighting for a trip to the state championship game in St. Louis. The Spartans will take on Fort Zumwalt North in St. Louis in the state semifinals. Battle is looking to make it back to the state championship game for the second time in their 3 years of playoff eligibility. Spartans beat Fort Zumwalt North in the quarterfinals last year before falling to Fort Osage. Tomorrow's game is set to kick off at 1 o'clock. That's it for sports.
Just into the newsroom, MU police are investigating a possible sexual assault on campus. It happened sometime between 1:45 and 8 a.m. in the Dobbs residential hall. The victim said she was assaulted by a man she did not know. We'll have more details as they become available. Michael.
Taking a look at the forecast for Saturday morning, we're going to wake up with temperatures below freezing and pretty breezy out too. It'll actually feel like the lower 20s because of those winds. Afternoon highs only warming in to the upper 40s. And taking a look at the rest of the weekend, we're back to 52 degrees by Sunday. And Tuesday's our next chance for rain. We'll be back up near 60 degrees. But you can see for Wednesday, big travel day, things look nice.
All right, that's our time for now. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night.